where you don't do anything to try and manipulate the first gunner, and you just like reach maximum like speed, he will turn like 90% of the time, right? And in the same vein, if you're very slow, he will also turn every time. Like if you're someone who has a very bad line, and by very bad line I mean very bad line, I mean as in you may be on controller and you can't walk forwards in a straight line, then if you have that, then you can often get to shoot an additional time and make crew turn. Crazy how one little thing makes tutorial way more complex than it should have ever been. Yeah. And it got even more difficult with the invention of the lockdown strats, because prior to that, it was mainly a thing about if you knew about it, you could prevent it permanently, and if you didn't know about it, then you were subject to it like all the time. It used to be a knowledge issue. Now, it's an actual like skill slash slightly RNG, maybe. I don't know if there's RNG to the gunner. Well, there is to his trajectory, but I don't know if there is to like the gun being noticed or whatever. Like there is, of course, RNG on the trajectory of the bullets that can sometimes fuck you over. And that was the only problem with the locked off strats. Like usually you would always be fine as long as you knew what to do. Like jump slightly to the left at the start after you turn the corner and try to get the gunner to startle. If he does not startle, then you take a slightly left, like more left pathing up toward Kuro, and he won't turn. And then, you know, that's it. That's all you gotta do. It was super easy. But we were still having people have... some people would still have way faster windows than others, so... the whole thing with risk-reward was still a thing. Like... because the only reason I'm doing I'm not doing the lockdown shit is just because I tend to reset more doing it, and I don't really feel like doing that. But in the old days, when some people were faster than others on the windows, it was also, you know, a risk-reward thing, because some people would take very aggressive lines that would be very risky in terms of Kuro turning, and they would save like a little bit of time with it. I-36 with KBM tutorial. That's pretty fucking good, yeah. You know, people were getting 36.7 and 0.69 before lockdown stuff. And that was like when people really were sus on the whole like hardware still playing a factory even after new timer. And I think some people still are sus about that just because of this incident. Cutscene RNG. Yeah, I still am not sure that I understand cutscene RNG, because the length of the loads do not matter, because the game is paused on them. Unless you mean in terms of the skipping or what? Like skipping them? Because I don't think that's RNG. Because you can make a robot do it perfectly every time. Or you can do it perfect within a frame. Like sometimes it will be 1 frame off. Perfect. The skipping? Yeah, that's not RNG. Because a robot will do it correct every time, or within 1 frame. Sometimes it gets the skip not at 0, but at, you know, 0.01. I have even seen it miss with 2 frames. But that's like kind of rare. Yeah, that's not RNG, it's skill, but it's kind of a little bit out of your control, so you can say that it's random. But RNG means something different. Something being RNG is different to something being inconsistent, out of your control, and seemingly random. In a practical sense, you cannot consider it RNG, no, because RNG means something different. It means that okay, whatever. I'm not gonna argue it. Definitely thought it was RNG. Well, it is probably random in the sense that it's out of your control, in the same way that I like to describe double deathblow as being random but not RNG, because RNG is different. RNG is different than something being random and out of your control. Because it means that it's out of anyone's control when it's RNG. And there's nothing you can do about it. But when something is random, you can take steps to like when something is random in the sense that it's out of your control and it's very inconsistent, you can still take steps towards getting better at it. Cutscenes. Yeah, we were just talking about placebos. Cutscene skips explained before. Okay, you want to press as fast as possible. Riflets, who used to have the tutorial gold before lockdown, he did jitter clicking to skip the tutorials. Or not the tutorials, to skip the cutscenes. Which I wouldn't suggest doing because it's not worth it. But he would occasionally do it nonetheless. He had some tutorials where you can literally see that he's getting like 70%, like 3 out of 4 of the tutorials frame perfectly. Oh, cutscene skip perfectly. There are 4, wait, 4? Yeah, 4 cutscene skips. I think, right? And he would sometimes get like 2 or 3 of them frame perfect. Pretty fast. Well, so anything under 100 clicks per second, or actually anything under 1000 clicks per second, is time loss. In theory. You can't click 1000 times a second, but 100 or 60 should probably be enough. You can do that with a few techniques, but you don't need to do that over a big gap. You only need to do it over, you know, a window that you are familiar with. So the cutscene skipping window is always the same, or it's generally always the same. You will be able to tell when it is by being better at the game. And so in that moment, you only need to really just make sure that you hit most frames in that window to maximize your chances. Controller as well, considering input delay. The cutscenes, they don't really play by the same rules as the rest of the game, like in the sense that, you know, the whole like input shit. But there is still of course input delay, but your input delay should ideally be consistent, right? In the sense that you get the same delay every time. That's really the most important thing when we're in speedrunning. In online games you want the lowest latency at all times because you are reacting. But in speedrunning you are not reacting. You are doing stuff that is pre-planned. So you want a consistently low latency. Or like a consistently high latency also works. But it doesn't really matter what your input lag is as long as you learn to play around it. And by that I mean that you don't sit and like change keyboard all the time and change controller and change. And it can even vary unit to unit. So I guess if you're replacing your controller a lot, you may be shooting yourself a little bit in the foot. And I also don't know how consistent the delay on it is compared to a keyboard, which is like insanely consistent in its delay. Yeah, double bow lightning, it is a thing. It's kind of rare. Like some 1% or less than 1% business. It's not really that fast. It's better to get normal lightning, normal double lightning. But it's not bad. But yeah, more inputs for skipping cutscenes is better. And jitter clicking may be a thing that you want. Or it may be faster, but it's probably not a thing that you want, just because it's like it's literally frames that you're saving. But yeah, press faster will usually result in getting lower cutscenes. In my experience, like right now, I am purposefully not spamming as hard as I can. I'm just spamming at a like a moderately fast tempo on them. And that's on purpose. If I'm like close on a gold on tutorial, I will spam all I can and I will get better cutscenes. But otherwise, I'm generally just doing like a moderately fast pace. And then sometimes you lose 0.1 seconds. You shouldn't, like if you're losing 0.2 ever on a cutscene, then you were definitely being too slow. With your spamming, because that meant that you knew somewhat where the timing was and you pressed too early, and then the next input would, you know, be way later. Because if you miss it by 0.2 seconds, you would have been better off waiting to get it visually and then kind of reacting in anticipation of it. When you know when something is coming and you then are reacting to it, like you know the timing that it's gonna come at and then you react to it, you are able to react very fast. But generally speaking, no one reacts to them. But it could be better than pressing slowly. But generally speaking, you know, you just want to learn when it comes. And then you want to spam around that timing to give yourself as many chances as possible to hit the correct spot. Generally, I wouldn't suggest timing one perfect input. Because there is, of course, slightly... This is the RNG part, I guess. Like, the loading... length varies, but it's generally the same enough so that you can be consistent if you spam click. Okay, good RNG. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. So I guess I should do 7 actually. I thought I was only supposed to do 6. Allow the foot pedal meta with a scroll. Well, maybe scroll wheeling is the meta for skipping cutscenes. I'm not sure. It could very well be. I tried it on dialogue and it didn't seem to work. I was kind of expecting it to work because it works in Dark Souls 3. But maybe I just either had like a scroll wheel that I wasn't very comfortable with, or I was just not doing it correctly. But in Dark Souls 3, they also cannot spam as fast as they want on the dialogue. But a scroll wheel is very good on average, I'm told. It's good enough that some people exclusively use a mouse just for like a few dialogue sections on the game. Which, like, there is one dialogue section on any percent, right? Is with, is it Emma that she's called? Oh my god! PS3 has to be a rhythm sort of, but pretty lenient. Any other categories, there's shopping, dialogue, and Andre dialogue. Oh yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, it's just that to give an idea of how good the method is, some any percent runners take a mouse and tape it to the bottom of their or at the floor, and then they scroll their foot, the wheel with their foot. That's how good using the scroll wheel for Dark Souls 3 dialogue is. That's how badly you want to use a mouse for that. That you would go to the extent of taping it to the floor and then scrolling on it. It's honestly genius. Like, in my opinion, it's completely genius. It doesn't really work for me because I have carpet floor, but if I had hard floor, I might consider trying it. Mouse to microphone and lick the scroll. That is crazy, actually. That's... Or better yet, strap it to your fucking face. Like, why not? Fucking strap it to your face. Holy shit. Like, you might not be able to breathe very well, but it'll save you time on the dialogue. And it will be there when you need it. Yeah. Imagine a GDQ run with a guy that has mouse taped to their mouth. Yeah. Although GDQ, I don't know how the setup exactly works, but usually the setup is quite sus in the sense that you get to use like a shit fucking keyboard and mouse. And I have heard of... Oh my god. I have heard of situations where I think it was Spacey who did a run, and he didn't have access to a keyboard, but he needed a keyboard for one of the strats. And so he just had to like improvise it with controller, even though he didn't do the strat with controller. And you can see that when he's at his own setup at the GDQ runs, he has like a very specific setup with both his keyboard and mouse and his controller. Like, it's kind of similar to what I had. Oh my god, brother. Not this shit again. Losing major time. Still recoverable? Yeah, this is very chokeable though. I gotta be fair. Like, this is prime choking territory. This is like, you know, infants and Legos territory levels of choking hazard. You know, there is a reason that they put those breathing holes in the most tasty Legos, I should say. You know, the figureheads, they have the holes through them so that you don't actually die if you swallow them. As a young child. I guess they did like some stats on what are the most like ingested types of Legos. And so it's only like the fucking character heads and a few others that have the holes. Kind of funny. Insane Lego fact from the Lego man. Okay. We all did 4. That was cringe. Oops. Delayed jump. You can't delayed jump from that. Unfortunately. It's not possible. Or maybe you can, but not from that angle. You'd have to go down the statue. Because there is a different head, like the other head that's close to the opening that everyone wants to go up to but can't. You know that one? By the idol. The one that you drop down from and then you can't get back up. There is a head there that you can delay jump off of. But it takes a very, very precise and specific setup. Or not very, but like you need to use Mesh Viewer to line it up. Mesh Viewer and teleporting yourself to a very specific spot. I'm not gonna rule out that, you know, it couldn't be made consistent. But there's no use to it, so. No use for it. You open it. So tired you think you'll go home? Oh, are you out doing a little bit of booze business? It is the weekend after all, I think, right? Oh, okay, that worked. You can never get good rest. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm losing time here. I guess the cock movement was a little bad. Maybe the menuing could have been better. Oh, we can just about inch out the sub 29 here. Nah, no way we're on like a 5-man tie on the leaderboards with a 28:59. That would be cringe as shit. 204 ape. Yo, what's up, Riflets? Yeah, I gotta channel the inner bird enjoyer in me. That's a meme that less than... Oh my... Okay. Rip having a good ape. Oh wait, never mind. Actually, it's funny. Less than... I don't think anyone other than us two will understand that one. I don't know if... Sarah should understand that one as well. I think. But basically there is a certain man who's quite fond of birds. Who likes to also do 204 apes. Okay, this is not good, but I believe it should be a 210 or 211. It shouldn't be time loss. Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, it's time save. Never mind. Oh, wait, it is. Foggy? Oh, yeah. Like, this would definitely be sub 29able if I got a 204 ape. Like, if I got a 204 ape, I would very comfortably do a sub 29, yeah. Okay, fast landing. Oh, that's... Okay, that works. Surprised that worked. Top option? Oh, I thought it was one more hit. Oops. That's still good. Whoops. Okay, man. Yeah, that's a really bad fight. But it's a PB.
Sekiro.
Yay, PB. Okay. That is complete and utter garbage to run against.